cousin is from Harvard, and he just sat in on some evergreen classes, and he says, my God, it's just a better education than he got. I don't think you could get an education like it anywhere in the country.
The killer, I mean, the thing that changed this town more than anything else was the freeway. First by killing it. You know, because it used to be that you had this main route from Vancouver to Los Angeles, or San Diego, basically, or from Seattle to Portland, or whatever, you know, you're coming right through downtown Olympia. Then when they built the freeway, it killed that. I mean, just destroyed Olympia. I mean, I remember when I was in high school, in the late 70s and early 80s, downtown Olympia was basically a ghost town. It was just all empty storefronts. The mall opens up, steals whatever business was left.
Downtown Olympia had been replaced by big retailers in South Sound Center, and it provided over downtown. And it makes it such an interesting place now. There are a lot of little coffee shops, there are organic food restaurants, punk rock record labels.
There's a tavern in the town, and there my true love sits him down, and he drinks.
I started K in 1982 as a label releasing local music. And if you counted all the releases we put out on cassette, the cassette-only releases and the 45s and the albums, it's probably close to 300 different releases, maybe more. We have a really unique rock scene that's very supportive and very fertile, and it's a unique combination of the influences through the college, kids who come here for college, and then influences from the local kids starting bands. But for some reason, Olympia can remain fertile for like 15 years.
And I think that a lot of it has to do with like people having shows in their basements, and it's always been that way. You know, the basement scene seems to thrive really well. They're in the house parties and stuff. You know, and that's where all these bands come from too. You know. Fitz of Depression was the first punk rock show that I ever went to. It was the first punk rock show that I ever went to, and I think it changed my life. You know, I even bought a really bad record at that show just because I thought it was the coolest thing that ever happened. Like, wow, these people are putting out their own records, and you know, I still got the record, and I never listened to it. But you know, it totally changed the way. You know, if these people can do it, I can do it. You know.
Only one band from Olympia ever signed to a major label in that whole frenzy. There was a whole frenzy of bands from the Northwest getting signed after Nirvana and Soundgarden got successful, and only Fitz of Depression never got signed, and they got dropped and never put out a record. So there never was like an Olympia band that got signed from that the whole phenomenon of the grunge thing, and except for Fitz, which never happened.
That's one thing that Olympia never really fit into, is like the grunge scene. And that's probably why there wasn't a lot of bands in Olympia that got really super famous at that point. You know, I mean, not only because of the sound necessarily, but also just because of their attitudes. Because I think that, you know, Olympia and the bands in Olympia have always taken a different attitude towards like how they approach music and what they want to do. I mean, I think that for the most part have like wanted to do things their own way, and that's one thing that like the corporate record labels wouldn't let them do. Or they were afraid that they wouldn't let them do, you know. And I think that a lot of people have actually done really well without having to sign up to a major label.
think actually my all-time favorite band from Olympia would be Unwound, I think, because it's easy to pick them because they have the largest body of work. There have been several great bands from Olympia, but I would put Unwound at the top of the heap because they put out like 8 really great albums.
Unwound started playing when we were in high school, so it was probably like when we were 16. We released, I don't know, 6 or 7 studio records, and toured like the United States countless times, and did a lot of traveling. Went to Europe and went to Japan once. But we did a West Coast tour, and then we ended that a couple of weeks later with a show on April Fool's Day of 2002, I believe, at Thekla, and it was great. It was actually one of the best Olympia shows that we ever had.
I really was sick of mainstream music and the choices. I'm sick of turning on MTV and being led to believe that you only have 20 choices. If you want a favorite band, you've got 20 choices to pick from and they all suck. And so, I'm not actually advocating killing rock stars or anything, but it was just sort of an expression of that frustration at the low quality of the music that was being presented to us in the mainstream. It's not really a genre or a style of music necessarily that's indigenous, but I think somehow there's an atmosphere here that allows it to come out. And all I really can think of it is that it's momentum. There's really cool bands here, so that other kids are inspired by those bands and start new bands, and it keeps going.